going to have enormous consequences to families across the country.
Today on the Morning Edition, a major shakeup at the Department of Education with 50% of its workforce on the chopping block. That as debate in Juneau focuses on education spending for the third consecutive day. Plus, we're beginning to see how Iditarod 53 might just end, but in the world's toughest race, anything can happen. We'll have the latest from our trail crew and current standings as the race heats up. And later, a toddler's favorite toy. It took a dive into a giant aquarium, painted turtles. Well, they took it for a swim, but who reeled it back in? How this aquatic adventure ended as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone, on this Wednesday.
No.
A turtle to the rescue.
I know, right? How cute is that?
I know.
I need to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
Plus, you just wanted to go for a little swim.
I know,
Maybe
right?
so.
Little animals. But weather-wise, you were mentioning maybe a little slight change this morning today?
Yeah, we do have that chance that we could see some flurries this morning as you get out on the roadways. A better chance for that snow arrives into the afternoon and evening hours. And, of course, we are sitting up under overcast skies this morning and slightly cooler across South Central. 28 degrees currently here in Anchorage with winds out of the north-northeast at 5 miles per hour. That's making it feel slightly cooler outside with a wind chill of 23 degrees. Now, we are waking up this morning to teens and 20s across South Central. Clouds did move in a lot earlier than expected, and as a result, we are slightly warmer than anticipated, but still seeing those cooler conditions across the state. As you wake up this morning, you can see those temperatures across South Central, several degrees cooler than this time yesterday. We're about 5 degrees cooler in Talkeetna, Wasilla, 6 degrees cooler. A few locations sitting on the warmer side, but the overall trend across the state is cooler conditions. And as we've been talking about this week, some of the coldest weathers through the interior and out west, where we're seeing those temperatures dropping down about 10 to 15 degrees colder than this time yesterday. No significant impacts this morning. You could see some flurries, though, for the first part of your morning commute. Those temperatures holding in the 20s. And even though we are starting off in the mid to upper 20s for this morning, the afternoon hours not going to see much improvement as we only climb into the low to mid 30s for a vast majority of South Central. You can see some light flurry activity possible over the Anchorage Bowl. Of course, we're still seeing some of that drier air in place, so most of that may not even be hitting the surface. What we're going to be watching, though, is a band of some snow showers forming through Prince William Sound, pushing northward throughout the day. That's what we'll see our better chance for some snow. I'll have more on that 7-day forecast for you and what to expect over the next couple of days coming up.
New higher taxes on some goods brought into the United States kicked in at midnight and follow another down day on Wall Street.
And now the president has taken the first steps toward dismantling the Department of Education, slashing about half the department's workforce. Alice Barr has what's new this morning.
This morning, major cuts to the Department of Education, with the announcement nearly half its staff, roughly 1,300 career employees, will be out of a job. Education Secretary Linda McMahon called it eliminating bureaucratic bloat and a step toward President Trump's ultimate goal.
This directive to me clearly is to shut down the Department of Education.
That would require an act of Congress, though the president has talked repeatedly about leaving school policy to the states, setting off alarm among many parents like Lindsay Latham, who worries about losing federal oversight and grant funding for special education services children like her son Calvin rely on.
To make sure that their kid is being treated fairly and given the opportunity to learn like any other kid. If we go backwards, we are going to see such a regression in the most vulnerable population.
Secretary McMahon saying the department will still deliver on special education funding and other statutory programs. From nervous parents to rattled markets, Wall Street saw more losses Tuesday as another bout in the Trump trade war takes effect today. 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from around the world, hitting Canada hardest, though the president dropped a threat to double the metal tariffs on Canada because of a 25% electricity surcharge Ontario's premier imposed before both sides backed down. Amid the uncertainty, President Trump rejecting growing concerns about a possible recession.
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom.
Adamant his sweeping tariffs will strengthen the U.S. economy. The House has cleared a major hurdle in preventing a government shutdown at the end of this week, narrowly passing a 6-month funding bill that now heads to the Senate, with Democrats divided over wanting to push back against the Trump administration while not wanting to add to economic uncertainty with a shutdown. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Today, President Trump hosts leaders from Ireland ahead of St. Patrick's Day. This morning, the European Union announced it will carry out retaliatory measures against the U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs starting April 1st. The EU measures will cover steel and aluminum as well as textiles, home appliances, and agricultural products. Meanwhile, Brazil and South Korea plan to charge reciprocal rates starting on April 2nd.
Education funding takes center stage in Juneau for a third straight day as lawmakers debate House Bill 69. And while it has moved quickly through the House committees, it's still unclear when a final vote might happen. The debate on HB 69 continues, which would raise per-student funding by $1,000 to help prevent cuts in school districts. Several amendments, including class size caps and extra charter school funding, failed. New provisions include more grants for Alaska Reads and a requirement for education funding votes by March 15th each year. With several lawmakers still pushing for changes, the bill may see further revisions before moving forward.
Increasing the base student allocation, which is the starting point of our funding formula, will improve the finances of all types of education in Alaska. As far as open enrollment, that was a request from the governor. And we didn't do everything that the governor wanted, but we did a lot of what the governor wanted.
I imagine that the Senate Finance Committee will take a closer look at that and see, what their suggestion is for the BSA amount. And it's my expectation that it actually comes down in the Senate, that the Senate Finance Committee will recognize that it's really, right now that amount is almost unachievable.
Representative Himschutz said it's not likely the bill will reach the Senate today, while Senator Costello said there's a good chance that it will. Stay on top of the education funding debate on our website. And staying with news from the Capitol, more information on that new bill aiming to protect the rights of homeless Alaskans, sponsored by Senator Elvie Gray Jackson. The Homeless Bill of Rights would guarantee access to public spaces for rest and shelter as long as it doesn't block traffic and ensures the right to medical care. The legislation comes a year after advocate TJ Beers pushed lawmakers to address homelessness issues.
It ensures that individuals experiencing homelessness are not denied access to essential services like everybody else, including medical care, clean and safe living conditions, and equal opportunities for all.
Beers says he's happy to hear the legislation has been proposed and agrees this is a good starting point, but he would like to see the legislation go further.
First of all, you're still going to have homelessness and you're still going to have people dying on the streets. And that's the only concern that I have, is to not let these people die on streets. These are our American people dying on the streets when they are living in one of the most wealthiest countries in the world.
The legislation does not stop municipalities from abating homeless camps.
Alaska soon may ditch styrofoam. A new bill could ban polystyrene food containers statewide, sparking debate between environmentalists and business owners. Johnson Kuhn shares what this means for restaurants and customers as Alaska's news source investigates.
Styrofoam, good for holding your to-go food, but bad for the environment. If a new House bill introduced this year should pass, Alaska will be telling to-go containers like these to go away permanently. House Bill 25 would prohibit restaurants from using polystyrene foam, or also known as styrofoam, for prepared foods. It would also ban statewide use and purchase of the disposable food product as well. An aide for Representative Andy Josephson says the ultimate goal of the bill is to only address the most serious effects of styrofoam. But some restaurants worry about the bottom line.
Well, if it's better for the environment, I don't know much on biodegradable material, but from what I do know, I've read that it's better, and I'm all for that. It's just being a manager of a restaurant is more of the, the costs, the effectiveness.
We're just looking at the use of polystyrene, styrofoam in disposable food service. There's other plastics, there's industrial uses of styrofoam, and we're not trying to go into that direction, but just trying to get some of the most egregious stuff out of the system.
The representative's office told me that they're hopeful that the bill will be making its way through the House soon and onto the Senate. And from there, if it ultimately passes, it would go into effect likely January 2026. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.
Up next in this morning's health report, eating well and getting the nutrition we all need becomes especially challenging as we age.
And for many seniors, those nutritional challenges can lead to serious health issues. How experts are helping older adults in Alaska stay healthy.
Watching for a chance for some flurries today, becoming some light snow showers into the afternoon and evening. I'll have more on that. But first, sunrise, 8:25 in Anchorage, 7:20 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
The full moon this month is sometimes called the crow, crust, sap, sugar, or worm moon. But whatever you call it, tomorrow it will look like a striking red color. Then the Earth's shadow will start covering the moon until we experience a total lunar eclipse. It will start around 8 p.m. Alaska time and be covered by 10:30.
The eclipse will last about an hour before the shadow starts disappearing. This is the first total eclipse of the moon in nearly 3 years to be visible across the U.S. Unlike a total solar eclipse, this celestial event does not require special eyewear. Still, nonetheless, though, Aaron, very cool when we have those types of celestial events, if you will.
Yeah, and thankfully, if you're one of those night watchers or night sky watchers, it's going to be earlier in the night, so you're not going to be getting up through the overnight hours, as you've already reported there. It does start shortly around 8 p.m. As far as what we are dealing with when it comes to those weather conditions, we should see some clear skies for a large portion of the state. Now, here in South Central, as we approach the lunar eclipse into your Thursday, well, we may hold on to some of that cloud coverage as we are expected to see some light snow showers today. Check out these temperatures this morning: 12 below in McGrath, 10 below in Kotzebue, 7 below in Dead Horse. Colder weather has been spreading westward across the state. We are going to continue to hold on to this cooler weather here through today and into tomorrow. Many areas is sitting about 10 to 20 degrees colder than this time yesterday, with some of the coldest conditions occurring through the interior. Where we are waking up to several locations sitting below zero, with some of the coldest areas across the eastern interior. Even out towards Nome and the western coast, we're seeing those temperatures certainly on the colder side this morning. Fairly quiet across mainland Alaska. We're still seeing that area of low pressure pulling off towards the southeast. As it does, it's still leading to some drier conditions out towards southeast, but we are also still holding on to some of that lingering coastal activity for the outer coast region. As far as what we are going to be seeing through the day as that system continues to pull off towards the southeast is continued dry weather, as well as some sunshine returning to southeast. There is that chance for some snow we're going to be watching forming later today, and then it will build northward through the evening hours. This is where we'll see that best chance for some light snow accumulation as it stays with us through the overnight hours on into early tomorrow morning. Not everyone will see this chance for some snow, but for locations that do manage to see some of that light snow, we will see some light accumulation looking possible, and you can see that chance for some flurry activity, if not some spotty to isolated snow showers, stay with us into Friday morning. We'll see the heaviest accumulation over the Chugach and Kenai Mountains through parts of Turnagain Pass as well, where we could see a few inches of snow accumulation. Western parts of South Central, I think we'll see less than an inch of snow accumulation, due in large part to where the snow is originating. And of course, we've got to play out that we've got to squeeze out most of that moisture out over the Chugach range as it pushes northward. But looking at the snow model trend, several of our models pinpointing roughly about half an inch of snow accumulation. We do have one rogue model putting up to about an inch, but I think most locations across western parts of South Central, should we see that snowfall, will amount to about a trace to less than a half an inch of snow accumulation. So we do have some flurries this morning. With that light snow arriving towards the afternoon and evening hours, the return of some sunshine out towards southeast, and that stretch of sunshine will stay with us through the rest of this week. 30s and 40s to be expected. Slightly cooler today across South Central, and again, like we were talking about from the past previous days, we're going to feel the cooler weather more so in the morning, not so much during the afternoon, although temperatures today will be a few degrees cooler You can see the mid-30s through Prince William Sound, 26 in Gulkana. The valley also on the cooler side as we climb into the low to mid-30s today with that chance for some snow into the afternoon and evening hours. A 7-day forecast, we begin to warm back into the mid-30s by week's end, watching that chance for some light snow possible this weekend. St. Patrick's Day, 36 degrees. And I'll go ahead and tell you, as we welcome in next week, there is a decent shot that we're going to see those temperatures climbing back into the low to mid-40s.
All right, thanks, Aaron, for the update. Well, in this morning's health report, March is National Nutrition Month, and this year the focus is on seniors getting the nutrition that experts say is vital to managing chronic health conditions.
Adrian Peterson takes a look at how seniors and their caregivers can make healthy eating a priority.
There are a lot of challenges with the older population getting enough nutrition because they have limited access to food. They might not be able to get around the grocery store as much. They might not have the same financial independence that they had younger in life.
Challenges to accessing food can result in malnutrition and muscle loss, but it can also increase issues with chronic conditions. These challenges often stem from nutrient deficiencies.
They're more likely to be deficient in like vitamin C, calcium, vitamin D, fiber.
Seniors are also at higher risk of dehydration.
Sometimes as we age, we just forget that we need to drink fluid, and as our cognition decreases with older age, we just don't get enough water.
According to Robbins, seniors should eat a variable diet with a focus on nutrients that promote strong bones while avoiding saturated fats and processed foods.
It's important to remember that if you have diabetes, you should be managing what kind of carbs you're eating. If you have chronic kidney disease, you should be paying attention to the kinds of proteins you're eating. Heart disease, making sure you're opting for unsaturated fats like olive oils and avocados and nuts and seeds.
Robin says caretakers can also help seniors by preparing meals in advance and helping them shop. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's News Source.
You've been listening to the Alaska's News Source podcast. Subscribe to have the latest episodes delivered to your library automatically.